Alright guys, this is going to be like a behind the scenes video of the last Analog Artisans episode that I did with my friend Travis. I actually reached out to him. I found him on STL Magazine. He's a printer from St. Louis. I reached out to him on Friday. We shot this on Saturday and the video was uploaded on Monday, I believe. So my intention during this was to shoot some HP5. And I was going to push it to 1600 after metering inside the house. And right when I set it down on the table right here, it decided to unroll. So I threw that one aside and had to switch to T-Max 400 and push that to 1600. So I ruined the first roll. I was going to do HP5, but it came undone. So now we're doing T-Max 400 and we'll push it to 1600, so that's the goal. So this is about 15 minutes after meeting Travis for the first time, and it can be a little intimidating to just start shooting pictures of someone, especially if they're not used to being in front of the camera, but you just got to talk with them beforehand and just let them know that you're trying to capture their story, and you don't want to take pictures that represent something that they're not. So just try to make it as comfortable as possible. And I know that can be hard, but the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it. And 1, 2, good. I think I'll switch lenses. So this is inside Negative Lab Pro. I had someone ask me how much editing I do after the fact of converting. So this is a black and white. I just do basic pre-saturation. And you can kind of see what it looks like straight off the bat. This is with linear plus gamma, which Negative Lab Pro recommends for black and white. But you can kind of see what standard looks like. The highlights are kind of blown out. The shadows don't look that good. Linear is not much better. The highlights still look a little blown out, but then when you switch to linear plus gamma, it definitely looks a lot better. For sharpening, I just do lab, and the last thing that I do in Lightroom Classic is just sharpen it a little bit, and then after that I just export it to Lightroom CC and do all my editing from there. So once we're in Lightroom CC, all I did to this photo was just bump the contrast. And when you're actually developing the film, the harder you agitate and the more you agitate, the contrast will go up. But I'd rather just do that after the fact and just keep a more flat negative to scan in, and then I can add contrast, because once you agitate too much and the contrast is there, it's really hard to bring that contrast back out. So basically I just went around his little studio right here. You can see how I'm metering just right in front of his chin right there. And a lot of these were at 2.8, f2.8 with the 110 or f4 with the 65 millimeter. Just a little bit. Perfect. So at this point I switched to the waist level viewfinder because it was kind of dark in there and I was having trouble focusing with the prism. And using the waist level is just a lot easier to focus because it does have that flip up magnifier, which helps a lot. And I only used this for about 2 or 3 shots, and then I switched back to the prism because we ended up going outside for some color shots and some just exterior shots in general. So for this video, I used Ilfotec HC to push the T-Max 400 to 1600. This is around $57 for a 1 liter bottle, and it gets you anywhere from 60 to 70 rolls, and it's a really good deal. I have used DD-X in the past, but that's around $1 per roll. You just have to use much more of the developer for each working solution. This is extremely diluted, so you only end up using about 10 milliliters to 15 milliliters for developing a roll. The DD-X does allow you to push and pull some more film, but if you just use percentages based on what the massive dev chart tells you, Ilfotec HC will be able to do anything that DD-X does, and it's a lot cheaper. I had someone ask me what I store my chemicals in, and I just keep it in this container, specifically the Ilfotec HC, because it's so diluted. It really can't oxidize, so it lasts extremely long. The DD-X, on the other hand, it is a little more liquidy, so it probably oxidizes a little bit faster. So what you could do is just pour the DD-X into any plastic bottle and then just squeeze the air out so the oxygen doesn't get in there, and it can last a little bit longer. So this is my first time developing and shooting slide film, and I'll show you a little video of me pulling the reel out of the tank right now. Damn.
Woohoo!
So as you can see, I was super excited about the results. I used Film Photography Projects developer, E6 developer that they have on their website. If you want an in-depth video of how to develop slide film, I'd recommend going to Zach Park's channel. He has a super easy video to follow, and he tells you all the steps that you need to do it at home. I just keep the chemicals in these plastic bottles that you can get from their website. They're less than 20 cents to get each one of these, and they work super well. You can squeeze and tighten the cap so the air doesn't get in, so the chemicals last longer. But there's only 3 chemicals. There's a first developer, a color developer, and then the Blix. But it's super easy to follow. Go watch that video if you want to do it yourself. So these are the positives right here. Basically, what I did while editing was I just had my light box sitting on the table next to me, and I would just keep referencing the actual positives that I got from the camera, straight from the camera, and I would just try to make those match in Lightroom, and that just seemed like the easiest way for me to do it. I was pretty surprised by the latitude of the slide film, because I've seen a lot of people talk about how it's very easy to underexpose or overexpose, but I metered all these at 100 ISO, and they turned out really well. Actually, in Lightroom, it held a lot more shadow detail than I thought it would, and I'm not saying that you should underexpose and then just bring up the shadows in post, but it's nice to know that that's there, and also it doesn't necessarily look that great when you do that. So I just would recommend metering at 100 and doing your best to get the proper exposure in camera. Perfect.
What are you shooting on?
Right now we're doing slide film. It's my first time, so I hope I don't screw it up. I'm just metering mostly for the highlights or the midtones, I guess. So metering at 100 ISO. If you want to come over here. I had one other person ask me where they should develop inside their house, and I did the best research I could, and from what I found, these chemicals are not any more dangerous than any household chemical or spray or disinfectant that you use or bleach that you use. You just have to be smart about it. Keep it away from food. Make sure you wash your hands or wear gloves. Make sure you have a window open, anything like that. Just be smart about it. There's people who have been home developing for 30, 40 years, and there's nothing wrong with them. Just be smart and don't drink anything, don't get it in your eyes, open cuts, stuff like that. Just be smart, be careful, and just take your time when you're actually doing the developing, because you don't want to mess up and make a mistake or anything like that. And I also had a couple people on Reddit talk about how when I got the excess water off of my negatives, I used my fingers instead of a squeegee, and I've developed over 100 rolls of film, and I've used my fingers to go down the film every time, and nothing has happened. The world did not end, and from what I've read on squeegees, I've read, yeah, they work great. I've read they tear up your negatives, they scratch them, and I'm just not going to buy it if I don't have any problems with anything. The last thing I do is put the film in photo flow and give it a couple dunks and a couple twists, and then I just use my fingers to do it. I've never had a problem. I wash my hands before I do it, so the friction between my fingers and the actual film is not that much. And like I said, the only time I've ever scratched my film is actually putting it in the scanning mask. So using your fingers isn't going to do any damage. It's perfectly fine. The world is not going to end, I swear to God. So it's calling for f5.6 and 1/500th shutter, and I'm just doing 1/400th shutter, so we'll just see how that works. One, two, good. See if there's some shade around here, maybe over here. I think they do like online or like classes now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Dang, so it is just showers.
Yep.
Man.
So just look right here for you. And 1, 2. Good. I think I might get one of just your hands, just because you use your hands so much.
Yeah.
Do you have any tattoos?
I've got a few. Yeah. Nothing crazy. Which is kind of ironic. I'm doing this as a tattoo artist, and
Yeah.
I've got a few on my arm, but it's nothing really to brag about.
If you want to come out here again.
No, I know. Yeah, choose what you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2. Good. 2 on here. Stand right here for me. And 1, 2. God, I can't get over how tall you are. I'm not used to pointing up like this.
Yeah.
1, 2. Good. Hopefully I didn't screw things up too bad.
I'm sure you didn't. So what are you shooting on now?
This is T-Max 100, so I'm shooting a lower speed so I can really shoot at a lower aperture, like 2.8. or maybe 4, but since it's pretty sunny out here, a lower speed works a lot better. Perfect. And 1, 2. Good. And then just keep your body like that, and then just turn your head for me. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. A little bit closer. Stay just like that. I think I want to get one with the cows in the background.
Alright.
Just because I took a picture of my buddy Josh one time with cows and everyone loved it.
Yep.
Be all curious too, so they're gonna be all looking at you.
I can already see them. They're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
Just maybe right over here.
What's up, buddy?
They're a lot more curious than the last ones.
Yeah, they want to come hang out.
1, 2. Good.
Yeah, do it.
God, you guys look like a gang.
I love it. They're posing.
Yep.
Oh, come on. Hold still for me.
There you go.
There you go, right. Hey, hold still. Okay. Alright, I think we're good. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little behind the scenes video of the latest Analog Artisans episode. I hope to do these with every episode that I do, just because it gives you guys kind of an insight of how things go on the actual shooting day. This was also really interesting with shooting Ektachrome for the first time. I loved it. I recommend shooting it and developing it yourself so you can experience seeing the positives come out of the tank. It's truly like magic, and I already bought 5 more rolls of Ektachrome to do it again. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. If you have any comments, let me know. I reply to every single message. I appreciate the love and support more than you know. If you're not following me on Instagram, go follow me there. You can message me anytime. I'll always reply, and I appreciate it again, and I look forward to the next one.